best a man can get.
Back here, first things first, FS1 basketball insider Chris Broussard joins us now.
I mean, Jenna's amazing. Jenna's on the phone, and she's like, I gotta go. And it's as if you don't have, you can just hang up. Just hang up, put it down.
Stephanie.
She was like, I gotta go. I gotta go. She won't let me go, guys. We're coming on. She won't let me go. Just hang up.
Started a story as I'm like, I gotta go.
Good to see you, sir.
Good to be
Broussard,
here.
you have a wife. You get it?
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
9 seconds for Yeah, we know.
All right, let's talk about Zion, Broussard. His tournament is over earlier than most had bracketed, and while he dominated for 4 games throughout, his focus now shifts to the next big chapter in his life, and that would be the NBA. He seems to have cemented himself as the #1 overall pick. However, former NBA All-Star Gilbert is not fully convinced. Take a listen.
At 6'6", power forward, right, which is, you're undersized. You're 285.
Right.
Sounds amazing.
Right.
It sounds great. But in reality, if I say, well, he's Westbrook's height, but he's Shaq's rookie weight, everybody's like, ooh, that's not, ooh.
Yeah.
Because that's what he is.
Yeah.
6'6", 285, you haven't posted up at all. You didn't post up in high school. It's the lazy post up.
Yeah.
You're sitting here because before all you do is just have to jump high, drop step, and try to dunk on anybody.
Yeah.
So you've never learned the skill of backing down, 2 dribbles, none of it. Right. When you go to the next level, what position do you play? So you have this great phenom player that has no true skill.
Broussard, what do you think? Legitimate concerns about Zion's game?
I thought Gilbert made some good points. You know,
yes, I
thought it was a good analysis by him, but I thought it was a bit outdated. Like, the NBA is even different from when Gilbert retired in 2012.
No doubt.
So he talks about what position are you? A lot of the NBA is positionless now. What position is Draymond Green? You know? So there's that. Then the floor is so spread that, you know, with everybody, they put 3 or 4 players at the three-point line. It's easier than ever to get into the paint. And Zion has a quick first step. So I think he's going to be able to beat his man off the dribble and get to the lane. And then when you get there, Chris, there's like one guy at the rim to try to stop you. And overall, the majority of players in the NBA, even bigger ones, with his strength and explosiveness, I think he'll be able to finish.
Yes.
So, and then he talked about the post-ups. He's right. Zion's not getting it. Nice drop step.
No, he
jump hook with the left, jump hook with the right.
No, he doesn't have that yet. Yes.
Right. But when you look at him in college posting, he's posting against a zone. Yes. So they're surrounding him with 2 and 3 players. That's not going to be the case, obviously, in the NBA. So you put a big on him, he can blow by you. You put a small on him, he can post you. And he's like, we didn't see it in that clip, but Gilbert talked about him Blake Griffining it.
Yeah.
As if that's an insult.
Well, that's what I was going to key on. So later in the clip, he said, you know, does he know how to come off a pin down? Does he know how to run the baseline? If not, he's just standing in the half court out at three-point line trying to Blake Griffin it. Blake Griffin's rookie year, he gave you 23 and 12.
Right.
23 and 12. His next year in the league, he gave you 20 and 11 in the lockout shortened season. So his first 2 years in basketball, I'll give you 21 and a half, 11, 10 and a half, 11 rebounds. Like, that is great
He's
production.
He's an Hall of Famer, probably.
Right, at that level of production. He was an all-star instantly. Here's the thing. Can he score 20 points a game as a rookie? Well, I think he's going to get 6 to 8 points a game off the offensive glass. I think he's going to get 6 to 8 points a game in transition or secondary break. Now you only need 6 to 8 points a game in a half-court offense when he doesn't have the skills. And Jenna, you keyed on the word, yet. Why would we think he's a finished product at 19 years old? Why would we think he has learned all the basketball he's going to learn when he has had 6 months of real coaching? I don't know who his high school coach was, but when I'm talking about real professional collegiate or NBA coaching, like, Of course he has deficiencies. And of course guys that haven't had to learn great footwork, it's not fun to learn footwork. You ever been to AAU practice? There's one kid usually on a basket by himself practicing his footwork because he's really tall and not that athletic. And he's going to have to be great at it. The great athletes in high school basketball don't learn footwork. It's one of the reasons Joel Embiid stood out so much at Kansas, was he had this amazing footwork as a 19-year-old. We don't see that. So of course there's deficiencies, but the things he does well, I think instantly translate to the NBA. And as you pointed out, some of the defenses against him, while defensive players are better in the NBA, the lack of a zone will make it so widen things up for him so much. And the way the NBA is so much more focused on the three-point game than college basketball because the shooting's so much better, that will open things up enormously.
All right, so is there anything then that concerns you right now from his transition from college to the pros?
I'm concerned about all players developing. I'd never appropriate, oh, he's going to grow. That's the Ben Simmons example to me. Like, no, I didn't appropriate. No, this is what he needs to work on. Well, all guys get better. Not 100%.
Right.
And it's obvious in his 3 years in the NBA, he has not developed some type of shot. So these are the players that I like the fact that you mentioned Blake Griffin, because Blake is a good example of a guy who had some limits to his game. But the thing about Blake, I mean, how much taller is he than Zion?
Blake's almost 5 inches taller.
Okay, so he's significantly taller. So he wasn't a guy without a position. The guys without position who were greats in the NBA with Larry Johnson after coming off of playing in ULV and Charles Barkley. Those are the guys that have similar games at this stage of their development.
Similar heights.
To Zion, and very similar height. The thing that I worry about, will Zion do to Charles Barkley? Will he not develop his body? Will he keep trying to play an 80-game schedule at 275 to 280? Charles Barkley's a Hall of Famer, but Charles Barkley will tell you he could have been better at pro basketball if he had been in better shape. Now, Larry Johnson had some significant injuries, but Larry Johnson was the other way. He took care of his body, and he developed a little 15 to 20-foot jump shot. He developed a post game inside. So those are the things that Zion, especially the post-up. Gilbert's right. His post game is very weak. He does not know how to post up. And one thing he's going to have to get used to is, you guys talking about the game is open, the court's open. He's going to be challenged at the rim, and I would butcher him. If he goes to dunk on me, I would foul him. He is off with the free throw line. The ball typically does not get over the front of the rim. So those finishes, there's going to be guys trying to contest, but also I'm going to wrap him up. So, because he's a poor free throw shooter, and he's going to have to be able to overcome that.
I love the Barkley comparison. I think he's like a new age Barkley, like a Charles Barkley for this era. And people talk about the baby fat, and you're right. The thing is, if I'm an NBA team and I draft Zion, I'm getting him a nutritionist, maybe to live with him or whatever.
Yes.
And I'm getting, he's got a lot of baby fat. So I'm getting that baby fat off of him. And the thing I like about Zion, too, is I believe for all his physical gifts, he has the intangibles. He has this joy for the game.
Yes.
How many kids at his age are defending, especially guys that are putting up those numbers offensively? He defends the ball. He runs the floor.
Great anticipation.
Right. And I like, Chris, what separates him from the majority of great young players today, he can be effective without the ball in his hands. Like, he moves without the ball. He never had it at Duke, so I like that.
And we saw in the loss, and we saw it throughout the season, he seems to be a great teammate. Right. And he seems to be, if you watched, you would love it, Jenna, his interview at his locker after the loss in the tournament, how mature and wise beyond his years he is. And he's dealt with a level of scrutiny. Now, it'll get higher, but he's the most scrutinized college athlete I've seen, or prep athlete, since LeBron. And he's dealt with it all really well.
That, to me, would be my biggest worry. I don't give him credit for being at Duke, because what he getting ready to see, what we hear from KD, what we hear from Kyrie, every conversation, if he texts someone, he getting ready to get a level of scrutiny. To me, that's the biggest hurdle in the new NBA, is the optics on you every day.
I'm still caught up in the fact that he's going to get a nutritionist 24/7. That's the best thing I've ever heard.
You got to.
Chris Broussard, stick around. Coming up, hey, are Kyrie and KD